Public TV with me, Akanksha Khajuria, and in fact, this evening we bring you top 6 stories of the day, 6 stories that matter and 6 stories you should know about. The focus, of course, remains on the crucial SCO Summit. First off, Pakistan has been exposed globally at the SCO Summit as the member states have condemned the Pahalgam terror attack in one voice. Now, this is a big diplomatic victory for India, and then we will tell you about how Pakistani Prime Minister was snubbed and sidelined at the summit. There are some interesting visuals that we will show. And then to the crucial Modi and Putin meeting and the 50-minute long conversation they had in the car. Carpool diplomacy was at display there. Then we'll tell you about the details about what has happened in the last 2 days ever since the SCO Summit has started, and then how the United States is rattled by India, China and Russia coming all together at the SCO Summit, the casteist and the racist comments that have been made by Trump's trade advisor. And lastly, to the tragedy in Afghanistan, where a powerful earthquake has killed over 800 people. These are the top 6 stories that we're tracking for you this evening. Let's get started. In fact, first up, Pakistan has been shamed at the global stage in a big diplomatic win for India. At the summit, the member states have taken a strong stand against terrorism, condemning the Pahalgam terror attack, adding that sponsors should be brought to justice. And even though Pakistan was not mentioned, but at this SCO summit, in fact, it stood isolated, exposed and shamed. Here's more. Pakistan has been exposed once again, shamed at the SCO Summit in China. India stands vindicated. In a big diplomatic win for India, SCO members strongly condemned the Pahalgam terror attack. In a joint declaration issued after the conclusion of the summit in China's Tianjin, member countries including China and Turkey stated that the perpetrators of the Pahalgam terror attacks, the organizers and sponsors, must be brought to justice. The message from Tianjin is unmistakable. No safe haven for terror, no excuse for sponsors. The declaration, however, steered clear of naming Pakistan, despite India's long-standing charge that Islamabad provides a safe haven to terror outfits. Pakistan may not be named, but at the SCO Summit, it stood isolated, exposed and shamed. With Shehbaz Sharif in presence, Prime Minister Narendra Modi called out Pakistan and asserted that terrorism, separatism and extremism are a big challenge.
पहले स्तंभ एस यानी सिक्योरिटी के संदर्भ में मैं कहना चाहता हूं कि सुरक्षा, शांति और स्थिरता किसी भी देश के विकास का आधार है, किंतु इस मार्ग में आतंकवाद, अलगाववाद और अतिवाद बड़ी चुनौतियां हैं। आतंकवाद सिर्फ किसी देश की सुरक्षा ही नहीं, बल्कि पूरी मानवता के लिए एक साझा चुनौती है। कोई देश, कोई समाज, कोई नागरिक अपने आप को इससे सुरक्षित नहीं समझ सकता। इसलिए आतंकवाद से लड़ाई में भारत ने एकजुटता पर बल दिया। इसमें एससीओ रेट्स की बहुत महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका रही। इस वर्ष भारत ने जॉइंट इंफॉर्मेशन ऑपरेशन को लीड करते हुए अल-कायदा और इससे जुड़े आतंकी संगठनों से लड़ने का इनिशिएटिव किया। हमने रेडिकलाइजेशन के विरुद्ध समन्वय बढ़ाने और मिलकर कदम उठाने का भी प्रस्ताव रखा। टेरर फाइनेंसिंग के खिलाफ आवाज उठाई। इसमें मेरे समर्थन के लिए मैं आभार व्यक्त करता हूं। एक्सेलेंसी, भारत पिछले 4 दशकों से निर्मम आतंकवाद का दंश झेल रहा है। कितनी ही माताओं ने अपने बच्चे खोए और कितने बच्चे अनाथ हो गए। हाल ही में हमने पहलगाम में टेररिज्म का बहुत ही घिनौना रूप देखा। इस दुख की घड़ी में जो मित्र देश हमारे साथ खड़े रहे, मैं उनका आभार व्यक्त करता हूं।
In China, the message was loud and clear. The world will no longer tolerate terrorism, and Pakistan can no longer hide behind all the lies. And it wasn't just the words, Pakistan was shamed in actions too. From a desperate handshake with the Russian president to being left standing alone as the leaders walked past him, Shehbaz Sharif faced several insults at the SCO Summit in the last 2 days. The awkward moments are in fact going viral on social media. Watch this. Pakistan Prime Minister faced a diplomatic cold shoulder at the SCO Summit in Tianjin. The moment that stole the spotlight. Prime Minister Modi and President Putin walking together, while Shehbaz Sharif stood awkwardly on the sidelines. No handshake, no greeting, not even a glance. A snub in full public view. The optics were unmistakable. Modi and Putin projecting warmth, while the Pakistan's Prime Minister reduced to a silent bystander. On day one of the SCO Summit, Pakistani Prime Minister rushed forward after the group photo, stretching his hand towards the Russian president in a desperate bid for attention. The awkward handshake attempt was brushed aside, with the Russian and Chinese president walking ahead, leaving Pakistan's Prime Minister looking isolated on the very first day. For Pakistani Prime Minister, the SCO Summit was not diplomacy but an insult. In China, Prime Minister Modi's presence was unmistakable, engaging world leaders, shaping key discussion, reinforcing India's role as a decisive force in the SCO and beyond. And now let's tell you about the meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Russian President. They shared a warm hug followed by a carpool diplomacy that we'll tell you about as the two leaders boarded the black limousine on their way to the bilateral meeting and had a conversation for about 50 minutes in that car. Now, this happened as they were on the way to the bilateral meeting, and at that meeting, they touched upon several focus points, including the strong energy ties and cooperation to end the Russia and the Ukraine war. Watch this.
On the sidelines of the SCO Summit in Tianjin, two of the most prominent global leaders, Prime Minister Modi and Russian President Vladimir Putin, locked in one frame and then a bilateral meet. The two leaders also discussed regional and global issues, including the Ukraine war. Prime Minister Modi welcomed all the recent peace efforts and reiterated his support for the recent initiatives that have been taken to address the conflict in Ukraine. Prime Minister, reiterating his stand for peace, highlighted the need to expedite a ceasefire and find a lasting peace settlement in the Ukraine war.
यूक्रेन में चल रहे संघर्ष के विषय में हम लगातार चर्चा करते रहे हैं। हाल में किए गए शांति के सभी प्रयासों का हम स्वागत करते हैं। हम आशा करते हैं कि सभी पक्ष कंस्ट्रक्टिवली आगे बढ़ेंगे। संघर्ष को जल्द से जल्द खत्म करने और स्थायी शांति स्थापित करने का रास्ता खोजना होगा। ये पूरी मानवता की पुकार है।
Expressing gratitude towards each other, they discussed bilateral cooperation across various fronts, economic, defense and energy sectors. The two also expressed satisfaction with the sustained growth in bilateral ties over time. Russian President hailed partnership with India and highlighted that this meet only strengthens it further. Putin also highlighted the flourishing tourism between the two countries. Putin reiterated that relations between India and Russia is one of trust, and no third party can influence that.
हमारे बीच बहुत बहुमुखी सहयोग चालू है। व्यापार में सकारात्मक गतिशीलता देखने को मिलती है। पर्यटकों का आदान प्रदान विकसित हो रहा है।
This was a strong response to the recent statements from the US President on India-Russia ties. Prime Minister Modi, in his remarks to open the talks, termed the partnership with Moscow as special and privileged. He mentioned that there have been many high-level meetings that take place between the two sides on a regular basis.
एक्सेलेंसी, ये हमारे स्पेशल एंड प्रिविलेज स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की गहराई और व्यापकता का परिचायक है। कठिन से कठिन परिस्थितियों में भी भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले हैं। हमारा करीबी सहयोग न केवल दोनों देशों के लोगों के लिए बल्कि वैश्विक शांति, स्थिरता और समृद्धि के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है।
Prime Minister also mentioned that 140 crore Indians eagerly wait President Putin's visit to India later this year. The partnership between India and Russia is important not only for the people of both countries but also for globally too. It was indeed a significant meeting as it comes days after US President Donald Trump raised the tariff on India to 50% in retaliation to India's continued purchase of discounted Russian oil. Washington has repeatedly warned New Delhi against buying Russian crude oil, which it said was funding Moscow's war machine. But India has defended its imports as essential for meeting its growing energy needs of 1.4 billion people. Before the bilateral meet, both leaders were seen sharing light moments along the Chinese President Xi Jinping, showing the world their camaraderie.
The SCO Summit was more than just a grand stage. It was a message from global south to the western countries and mainly to Donald Trump. And today at the SCO Summit, there was not just one powerful moment, but many. The elephant, the dragon and the bear in one frame. The troika of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, Xi Jinping and Putin quite literally, in fact, stole the show today at the SCO Summit. Here's how, in fact, how they isolated Pakistani Prime Minister and sent shivers in the White House.
This is the moment of the day at SCO Summit in Tianjin. A walk that shook the corridors of Tianjin. Three leaders, three powers walking shoulder to shoulder. Vladimir Putin, Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The RIC Troika reactivated. The frame the world was waiting for and the frame that Washington dreaded. Because in the midst of Donald Trump's tariff tirade, the most powerful counter-image has emerged from China. The elephant, the dragon, and the bear, moving in sync on SCO's grand stage. Look closer and you see more than just diplomacy. A smile shared, a finger pointed, a message delivered. Putin, Modi and Xi locked in a crucial huddle, away from the noise, away from the West's gaze. This wasn't just a conversation, this was coordination, a moment of tectonic alignment. And then came the embrace. Putin wraps Modi in a warm hug, the bear hug that sent a chill across Atlantic. Xi too, standing close, listening, nodding and engaging. This is more than just optics. This is strategy unfolding live at the SCO. But the most telling image came in another frame. Watch closely. As Modi and Putin walk past with camaraderie, Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif stands frozen, waiting for an acknowledgement that never comes. No glance, no handshake, not even a nod. Just a cold walk past, a snub captured in front of the world. For Pakistan, it is isolation. For RIC, it is consolidation. In Tianjin today, the most powerful picture of SCO has emerged, one that redraws global equations. The handshake of friends. the snub of adversaries, and the quiet fear in Washington. This is the moment Donald Trump dreaded, and now he cannot get this picture out of his head, while trying to make himself believe that it is a good night.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi's high-profile meeting with the Chinese and the Russian president have rattled the United States. In a bizarre outburst, Trump's trade advisor Peter Navarro has accused India of being a laundromat for Kremlin, even dragging the caste politics into the debate. But India has made it quite clear that its choices will not be dictated by the fake narratives from the West. Watch this.
At the SCO Summit in Tianjin, India took center stage with Prime Minister Modi holding high-profile talks with Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. But this growing closeness with SCO partners has rattled Washington's nerves. Unable to digest India's assertive diplomacy, the US is spinning a distorted narrative. Trump's aide, Peter Navarro, went overboard accusing India of being a laundromat for the Kremlin. Navarro even dragged caste politics into the debate, alleging Brahmins profiteering at the expense of Indian people. The bizarre remark triggered outrage across India, with leaders calling it desperate, senile, and provocative. Even American voices are not buying the White House's spin, slamming Trump's disrespectful tariffs on India. Experts warn the US narrative is riddled with hypocrisy as American and European firms continue trading Russian oil under exemptions. India, meanwhile, made it very clear at the SCO that its energy decisions will not be dictated by foreign pressure. With Modi, Xi, and Putin projecting a multipolar order, the SCO Summit emerged as a counterweight to US dominance. This has rattled the United States.
आपको मिलना मतलब एक यादगार मीटिंग भी होती है, बहुत सी चीजों की जानकारियों का आदान प्रदान करने का अवसर मिलता है। हम लगातार संपर्क में रहे हैं। दोनों पक्षों के बीच नियमित रूप से कई उच्च स्तरीय बैठकें भी हुई है। इस वर्ष दिसंबर में हमारी 23वीं समिट के लिए 140 करोड़ भारतीय उत्सुकता पूर्वक आपका इंतजार कर रहे हैं। एक्सेलेंसी हमारी स्पेशल एंड प्रिविलेज स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप की गहराई और व्यापकता का परिचायक है। कठिन से कठिन परिस्थितियों में भी भारत और रूस हमेशा कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर चले हैं। हमारा करीबी सहयोग न केवल दोनों देशों के लोगों के लिए बल्कि वैश्विक शांति, स्थिरता और समृद्धि के लिए महत्वपूर्ण है।
многоуровневое взаимодействие.
हमारे बीच बहुत बहुमुखी सहयोग चालू है।
Торгово-экономическая кооперация в целом демонстрирует положительную динамику.
व्यापार में सकारात्मक गतिशीलता देखने को मिलती है।
Развивается туристический обмен.
पर्यटकों का आदान प्रदान विकसित हो रहा है।
Мы тесно координируем наши усилия на международной арене.
अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच पर हम हमारे प्रयासों को समन्वय से करते हैं।
Это ООН, БРИКС, Группа 20 и, разумеется, ШОС.
यूएन, ब्रिक्स, SCO जरूर इन संगठनों में से शामिल हैं।
И сегодня хорошая возможность обсудить основные задачи дальнейшего развития многопланового двустороннего сотрудничества в различных областях.
और आज की मुलाकात से हमारे रिश्तों को आगे बढ़ाने पर रास्तों पर बातचीत करने का एक बहुत अच्छा मौका मिलता है।
Уважаемый господин премьер-министр, дорогой друг, Россия и Индия поддерживают десятилетиями особые отношения, дружеские, доверительные. Это фундамент для развития наших отношений в будущем.
आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, प्रिय दोस्त, रूस और भारत के बीच बहुत विश्वसनीय रिश्ते बने हुए हैं। इस सिद्धांतों पर वे विकसित हो रहे हैं।
И эти отношения носят абсолютно внепартийный характер, поддерживаются подавляющим большинством народов наших стран.
और ये किसी से पार्टी या राजनीति पर आधारित नहीं है। लोग, हमारे दो देशों के लोग इस रिश्तों का समर्थन करते हैं।
And as India asserts its place on the global stage, America's fake narrative only exposes its deep insecurities.
And now to Afghanistan, where a powerful earthquake has struck the country, resulting in extensive destruction and significant loss of life as well. The tremors, which were felt across parts of Pakistan and India as well, have caused damage to infra there. Entire villages have been reduced to rubble, and several urban centers have been affected as well. In fact, current reports confirm that more than 800 plus people have lost their life. More than 2,500 people are injured. Rescue operation is currently underway there, and authorities are saying that the death toll in this incident may go even higher. Watch this.
A powerful earthquake has ripped through Afghanistan, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable destruction and despair. Entire families have been buried under the rubble, villages flattened in seconds, and cities shaken to their very foundation. The force of the tremors was so fierce that buildings swayed violently, felt as far away as Kabul, Islamabad, and even New Delhi, sending shockwaves of panic across the region. In the blink of an eye, more than 800 plus lives have been lost, with the number feared to rise as rescuers struggle to reach remote areas cut off by collapsed roads and landslides. Over 1,500 people are injured, many of them children and the elderly, fighting for survival in overcrowded and under-equipped hospitals that are on the brink of collapse themselves. With little equipment and scarce resources, survivors have been forced to dig through debris with their bare hands, desperately searching for loved ones still trapped beneath the ruins. Cries for help echo through destroyed neighborhoods as rescue teams battle against time, unstable structures, and fading hope. For Afghanistan, a nation scarred by decades of war, poverty, and displacement, this tragedy is yet another unbearable wound. International aid organizations and neighboring countries are beginning to mobilize relief, but the scale of devastation is overwhelming. The sheer magnitude of the disaster has laid bare the fragility of a nation that was already struggling to stand on its feet. This earthquake is not just a natural disaster, it is a human catastrophe, a tragedy that has torn through lives, shattered communities, and left behind grief that words cannot truly capture.
This is all we could pack for you in this bulletin of 6 stories at 6. We'll be back tomorrow with more such stories, but till then, keep watching Republic TV. Goodbye.